Hello viewers, Flash Motorsport here, and in today's video I wanted to test out, see if the Honda Civic is still worth it after all the new cars have been put out. You don't really see the Honda Civic much on the tracks anymore. You get one or two, but it's more saturated with the MGs, Audis and the Peugeots now. So I thought, bring my car out of the garage, give it a whirl, and first track we're on is at Silverstone. I'm going to set a qualifying lap and see how we do. We are on soft tyres, 4 laps of fuel, and a dream to be quite honest, because the Honda Civic wasn't ever the fastest in the straight line. Now with the Forza rotation, most of the tracks are pretty much fast tracks at the minute, so the Silverstone's quite a fast track. Watkins Glen, Mugello and Hakone I think it's on as well. So to be quite honest, it isn't the most fairest trial in the world, but we're going to make it work and show dominance that the Civic still has a foot to put forward. And if you enjoy what you see here, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment for me down below. Do you think the Honda is still relevant today? Or do you think the dog has had its day and needs to be garaged from now on? And if you do think that, what is the car that you have chosen to go for, and why have you chosen to go for that car specifically? Time we got to beat is a 101.552 at the moment. Obviously fluctuations will change. Right now we're going to set a 1 minute 792. So we're already in P1, which is a great start. Let's see if we can beat that time in lap 2. So we're coming down here flat out, and as soon as you come halfway over this curb on the left hand side, braking down to second gear, bring it in. As soon as you're over the line, start accelerating, and out the other corner you go. Coming down this back straight, you want to maximize that corner and bring on the power as soon as possible. It makes a huge difference coming down this back straight. Keep on your right hand side, looking again for the 200 board, braking down to third gear, rub that in the curb and power on a little bit. Once you powered on a bit, then onto the brakes, down to second gear. As you come around the pink pads, last pad, then start bringing onto the power again. Just bring it on gently, so you let the car push out and then come back over the start finish line. We're 0.2 seconds ahead of our last lap, so that's going to set us a 1 minute and 4.75. Now that's going to be our fastest lap, but thank you to the Forza gods for this one. I go off track here and totally messed up with lap 3. So thank you again to the Forza gods, because after this lap I ended up having the infinite loading screen. I waited it out because I was coming out of qualify, and I thought, alright, so once you come out of qualify and it goes to being able to choose your tyres and things like that, I might be able to load back in. Nope. I actually waited, and I waited about 5 minutes after the intermission, and yeah, I never got brought into the race or nothing. I mean, I think I was more nervous about being brought into the race on soft tyres than I was actually not being brought into the race. So we're going to skip ahead now and go over to the next track, which is Watkins Glen. So we're in qualifying Watkins Glen. Again, Honda Civic, 3 laps of fuel, soft tyres, and still dreaming. I don't think there's many people on this track. It says 4 people there. It was a weird scenario because I joined quite early and I thought more people would join, but I guess they didn't. It was weird. It must be the time of day or whatever. But you break it at 200 board, down to third gear, rub this in the curb and power on as soon as you're halfway across the curb. Coming down here, you want to keep your foot to the floorboard and basically try and rub the curbs a little bit and maximize the track, and do as little steering as you can and try and keep the speed up. I quite like the Honda Civic. It's got a much higher rev band than the MG, so you can really get into the red line and then prepare for the next gear. Looking out for the ambulance left hand side, braking down to 4th gear, rub the curbs and accelerate out the other side. I could have done that much faster, but there's always 2 laps to go for it. Coming around here at 95 miles per hour, as soon as you see the hut on your right hand side, power on, out the other side. Again, I could have gone a bit quicker through there. I am on the soft tyres and I was a bit slow to start off with, but keeping on your right hand side, looking up for the 200 board, braking down to 4th gear, rub that in the curb, bring it round and accelerate out the other side. Come back to your left, leave it in 4th gear, brake in and rub that in the curb on the inside and power on out. We're going to go to the start and finish line. We're going to set a time of 1 minute 16.454. I do wonder what my fastest lap in the MG was. I can't remember off the top of my head. I'll have to check it out. But 116, I could definitely do better than that. We're already 0.2 seconds quicker than the last lap. So if I can carry that forward and increase through other corners as well, we might actually knock a minute off here. I wonder, I think my fastest lap here has got to be a 115 or 114 in the MG. So this one can't be far behind. But like I say, the biggest issue with the Honda is the lack of straight line speed. We're braking at the ambulance again, down to 4th gear. You want to do this about 100 miles per hour. Come over the curbs and power on through. Braking down to about 95. Again, I go just a couple of miles per hour too slow. And a bit late on accelerating at the other side of the hut. Coming down here, like I say, you want to keep on your right side. We're 0.345 seconds faster than my previous, which is quite good, but not the best. I wanted a bit more. But hopefully lap 3 will be the one that's going to charm us all. We are in P1, nobody else is qualifying, so, and P1 it still counts. I mean, there was P1 at Silverstone, P1 here. It counts if nobody else qualifies. I'm just saying. We're with the start finish line at 116.088, which is quite good. Coming through here out to the side, and we're 0.81 seconds slower. Okay, let's see if we can bring some of that time back. Coming through here again, like I say, as fast as you can, and keeping over your left hand side once you come out this final curve. And keeping a lookout on your left hand side for that ambulance and the little hut as well. That's your braking point, down to 4th gear. Let it ride over the curb as much as you can, really abuse it as much as you can. You've got a lot of track limits. Just be mindful, like I did there, the back end did give out a little bit, got a bit swirly. But you can really hammer through there. It's incredible the speed you can carry through. But we are 0.013 seconds faster, so I found a little bit of time through there, oddly enough. Although I messed it up a little bit. Can't grumble, I found the time. Coming over your left hand side, it's still in 4th gear, let it coast in, rub that curb, power on out the other side. And we're going to set a, 0.2 seconds faster this time. That means we got into the 115s, oh yeah. Start of the race, we have a few of us in, there's not many people in. But the odds are massively against me here. I am not going to lie. It's me, an Audi, a Peugeot, and a Link. Like every other vehicle here is quicker than me. It's not fair. I don't think there's an Audi. Is there an Audi? I think that's a Peugeot. 2 Peugeots and a Link. Yeah. Seriously, the odds are not in my favour here. But we're going to make it work. We're going to have to make it work. Oh dear me. It's all part of the fun, and I was hoping through the first corner I'd be able to lose them, but I didn't, and I right up my trumpet. So I'll keep to the right hand side and try and basically have the inside of this next corner, make them back out. Coming out of the ambulance, braking down to 4th gear, and it works. They back out. I come through here a little bit too slow. Could have gone through a bit quicker, but I didn't know where the position was if they was going to back out. So they come through the outside here. I power on by the hut. And again, we have got the lead still. The lead isn't going to be there for much longer. Peugeot is quicker than me in a straight line and takes the inside of the next corner. Looking out for the 200 board, braking it down to 4th gear. I took myself from behind a Peugeot because I thought, you know what, I can use a bit of the slipstream of it. Peugeot goes off track and I gain that position back. Coming through here, I go through a little bit slow and the Peugeot gains the inside of me again. I do like the wheels on that Peugeot, I'm not going to lie. I quite like that blue. Anyway, back to the future. Moving on. I come through this next corner a bit too slow. The Link capitalizes on that and comes down here. Now, lucky enough, the Honda is actually very good at keeping up with other vehicles in the slipstream. So I am being basically pushing them up here. But I can't really gain a position. I don't want to fight for a position that in the next corner I'm going to basically lose on. So I'll keep over to the right hand side. I have still got a bit of slipstream going on, but I'm trying to create a position here. Doesn't work, everybody lines up and I back out. You see the Peugeot behind me backs out as well, and we all start to stretch out a little bit through here. I try and keep in as tight as I can and power on as early as I can to try and catch up to that Link in front. Like I say, the Honda is very good at slipstream. It's very good at keeping up with other vehicles, but it's not good for setting a pace. So I might as well use the other vehicles to try and keep up with them until about the last lap and try and basically force position. Learning to be a bit more defensive in my driving and not give up positions like I usually do by backing out. It's hard to train yourself to be more defensive and put yourself in a position where the other person has no other choice but to back out or collide. Putting your trust in someone else's driving, Forza, it's not the easiest feat to do. Coming through this first corner, we have a much better exit than the Link, and we capitalise on it. We're going through, passing the Link and gaining that position. I'm trying to catch up with that Peugeot. I have a 1.2 penalty, and I don't want them breaking away from us too much by us fighting. So I keep to the right hand side. I'm going to set the position again, be defensive, and brake at the hut just a little bit later. And I come through here at 100 miles per hour just about, and luckily enough the Link just tucks in behind me. It's some great racing from us all here. I go through here a little bit slow. I try and create a little situation here by having the Peugeot be able to catch up the Link and have them two fighting rather than me and the Link fighting, but it didn't work out. The thought was there, it just didn't work. But I really do want to try and catch up in this Peugeot. It's going to be a tough order, but with me and the Link fighting constantly and really not getting anywhere with it, we're basically losing ourselves time and time. You can see now the Peugeot in front is 2.3 seconds ahead. They managed to gain a second of me and the Link not giving up our positions. But coming through here, I go over the line just a tad and I give myself a little penalty. It was literally so close and I come in just too hot. But surprisingly, the Link also went off a little bit and the Peugeot capitalised on that. So now the Peugeot has overtaken the Link. We have a 0.6 second lead on the Peugeot, but the problem is the Peugeot is in my tow. They're going to start bringing it in, bringing it closer. So I brake at the ambulance, over the line, coming in at 102 miles per hour, just pushing that limit a little bit more and see if I can try and break away the tow from that Peugeot behind. And I'm pushing the car a little bit too much. You can see it's a bit clumsy through that there, and the Peugeot had a much better line, 0.5 seconds, 0.4 catching up to me. It's like I say, it's very difficult. That Peugeot is long gone in front of us now. There's no catching them, but as long as I can keep the two cars behind at bay to an extent, we might be able to have P2 position. Coming over the start and finish line, we are setting best laps, better and better laps each round. Now we're not fighting each other so much anymore. It's still not my best lap time, but we are on the medium tyres and we're setting a 116.5. Would you reckon there's a second and a half between medium and softs? I don't think there would be, but I managed to mess up the first corner and the Link is right up my backside again. Absolute pain in the backside. They had a much better corner than I did. Basically, I just broke too early and broke too much, and everybody else just capitalised on it. Looking to the left hand side, see where the Link is. I'm braking at the ambulance, down to 4th gear, and I tuck in behind the Link. Now, I was hoping the Link will make a bit more of a mistake here, but they managed to come back in and push me back out of the position I was going to try and sneak up on. But I'm going to go into the toe of it, try and get away from the Peugeot. They do have a 0.7 second penalty. That must be from when they went off the track in the first corner. Bringing it round. Be mindful of the slipstream wash. The last thing you want to do is lose grip from the slipstream. It's very, very prominent in the Mercedes, I think it is. It gets really affected by it. And I'm sure the Peugeot does as well. The Honda Civic surprisingly isn't massively affected by it. But I take this corner, 3rd gear, going in deep and stay on the inside and power on as soon as possible. Basically trying to keep them to the outside of the slower part of the track while I cut up the inside. There are very much to my left hand side. The Peugeot tucks in behind them because the Link is the faster car in a straight line, but again I keep to the right hand side of the track and try and have the better first corner to here. You can see the power difference on the Link to the Civic. The Link is creeping up me inside here. and braking down the 4th gear. I take it a bit wider thinking the link is on me inside. They wasn't, they backed out surprisingly, but luckily enough I don't lose position by the car being out of control. Again, I pulled the power back to try and create a situation between the link and the Peugeot. It doesn't work, so they must all be friends and I'm like on my Todd here. So coming through here, looking out for the 100 board, braking down the 4th gear. Tyres are starting to give out a little bit now, but this last corner is going to make or break it. Now I mess up this last corner a little bit, come through just a little bit too slow, power on a little bit too late, and the link just creeps up to my side. Absolute crying moment. But the link has a penalty, I have a penalty, and the Peugeot is clean as a whistle. So the Peugeot takes P2 position, I gain P3. Overall, it was a very fun, good and clean race. Great racing from everybody, thank you all. But it doesn't end there. I go back to Watkins Glen and try it out again. I didn't want the last race to be the deciding factor whether the Honda's still worth it or not. There wasn't enough people in the race to justify saying yes or no. So we come back again to Watkins Glen. I qualify, got P1 position again, and it was come down to the first corner, brake down the 3rd gear, get clouted from the left hand side. I guess the Audi to my left didn't realise there might be a car to the right hand side. Again, we've all done it, we've all been there, no harm, no foul. I've gained a good bit of a lead here. Problem is the Audi is quite a lot quicker than the Honda Civic, and they also corner just as well as the Honda Civic. So as you can see, they're really climbing up behind me. So I'll keep to my right hand side. This is going to be my line, braking down the 4th gear, through the inner loop and power on out the other side. Again, I go through a bit slow. I was hoping that the MG behind was a bit closer to try and create a situation, but they wasn't. So I made my own boo-boo here, and W ping and a phone number gains that position. So my idea now is basically try and keep up with the Audi, keep up in the slipstream and hold that position I'm in, P2. I'll be more than happy to finish if I'm in P2. Braking down the 4th gear, let the car coast around and power on out the other side. As we cross over the line, the 2 cars behind are fighting, which is great. It's creating me and W ping a lead. Looking for the 200 board, braking down the 3rd gear, hit that curb and power on out the other side. Again, the Audi is going to be quicker, and I'm hoping to stay in the slipstream of it to claw back in really, but I'm just too far away and the Audi's just a little bit too powerful for me to really claw it back. You can see 0.7 seconds and clipping is 0.8. Absolute shame for the slipstream, and it wasn't strong enough for me to be stuck back in as the Honda driver. But I thought I might come through here just a little bit quicker and try and capitalize on that. But again, 0.7 seconds, you can see they're understeering like anything. So in my mind, I'm thinking more, now if I can keep pushing, their tires might be worse off than the Hondas at the end of the race. And maybe that'll be the moment I can capitalize. But I'm going to try and keep the pressure on. You can see I've got quite a lead from the vehicles behind. 1.5 second lead from the cars behind. So me and this Audi, long as none of us make a big mess up, we've pretty much got this solid. Skipping ahead to the start of lap 6, the Audi has made a bit of a gain on me, 3 seconds ahead of me, and I'm still 1.5 seconds ahead of the car in P3. The car in P3 also has a penalty, but my tyres are starting to wear on this lap. You're not on the markers yet though, which is absolutely great. I think if I had the MG, I'd already be on the yellows. But if I was in the MG, I'd probably also be in P1, I'm not going to lie. The MG is quite an amount faster in a straight line. But this Honda really does, I think, it outhandles the MG by a good bit. But anyway, looking out for the ambulance on the left hand side, I'm braking down to 4th gear, bring it in. I just had the marker come up of a yellow on the front near side tyre, or the front left hand tyre, depending where the steering position is. I'm in the UK, so I sit on the right hand side and the correct side, and so that's being my near side tyre. But both tyres are now gone, so both front tyres. Looking out for looking out through the 200 board in your right hand side, braking down to 4th gear, bring it in. Lucky, surprisingly enough, the Honda on medium tyres that are worn is very good. It's very good on medium tyres that are worn. So I was quite shocked at how well it did through there. But as we cross over the start and finish line, we finish in P2 position. So the answer to your question, is the Honda still relevant even after all the new cars come out? Very much so. I mean, don't get me wrong, yes, I have improved as a driver as well, but for me to have pretty much 3 podiums, it's still very much relevant. You can see on the board now, there's only me and one on the Honda Civic there. Rest are Peugeot, MGs, Audi, Lynx, and Velostar. So, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I shall see you all in the next one.